And good evening, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of the Space Fam show. I love Space Fam. We get to talk every week with a few amazing people from around the space industry about what they're up to, what they're doing, and we have a great group tonight. So without further ado, let's get to the panel because we got some cool stuff to talk about. First up, we're going to talk with Gary Varney. Gary, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, the cool things you do, sir.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thanks again, Ron, for inviting me here. It's a great honor to be here with all the other people here. I am an amateur astronomer. I've been doing imaging maybe about 14 years or so now. Started using an 8-inch Newtonian, graduated into a couple of SCT scopes, and acquired, maybe a handful of different cameras, monochrome cameras, color cameras. And I just like looking at the planets, the moon, and sharing those views with like-minded people. Very rewarding.
And Gary's very humble. Wait till you see the images of which we speak. They're crazy, beautiful images. I actually showed them to Esther not too long ago. I'm like, you gotta see this guy's work. It's amazing.
Amazing.
Truly incredible. And next we're going to go to Brian Day. Brian has a pretty awesome job that he works every day for a little organization you may have heard of. So, Brian, let's go to you next, sir.
Thank you very much, Ron. Great to be here. Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Day, and I work at the NASA Solar System Exploration Research Virtual Institute. Way too long a name. But I get the opportunity to work with a really great team. We right now are developing data visualization and analysis portals that allow us to view the surfaces of many different worlds as seen through the eyes on many different instruments on many different spacecraft. And we're using this right now to analyze potential landing sites for upcoming missions on the moon, Mars, and elsewhere. The neat thing is we make these tools available not just to mission planners and planetary scientists, but we also make them available to the general public. So one of the things I hope to do tonight is to share with you how you can take advantage of these very same tools.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And we have everybody on here is doing great stuff. So it's going to be really fun to kind of dive into the deep end of what you all are up to. Oh, and I guess we should have mentioned, Gary, I don't think you mentioned where you're working now. So if you're watching this on Twitch, you're watching on the Clear Skies Network. Gary just finished his second week of working at OPT telescopes. So we're going to talk a little bit about the stuff that he gets to do too. Yeah. So we all obviously love OPT. If you can see right behind me is my scope from OPT right there. And the radians on top of it. It just looks very small in comparison to the massive mount that I have, but it's a beautiful thing. And speaking of somebody with a pretty incredible setup right in their home, Mike is not in a studio per se. He is in his home studio. And wait till you see kind of some of the stuff that he has. So, Mike from Asteroid Hunters, please give us a little background of who you are and some of the stuff that you do, sir.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate having us here. It's a real honor. My name is Mike Forslund, and my son Brandon and I make up the Asteroid Hunters. We basically do asteroid observations for the Minor Planet Center. We submit data for follow-ups for asteroids, near-Earth objects, comets, any of those kinds of things. We are kind of doing the eyes on the sky, and we do it right from our backyard. Everything you see here is our control center that we have going on here that we basically converted our garage, that we have all this stuff happening here. And then we have our backyard observatory that we have our 14-inch Raza that is running. And we have a fully automated sky survey that basically looks for new objects on a nightly basis. And we are doing all this research right out of our backyard. We also, because we're doing a full sky survey, we also do transient detection as well, supernova, novas, dwarf novas, any of those kinds of outbursts. Our survey will capture those as well. And we're literally doing it right from our backyard here and right in our garage.
It's a pretty cool setup, and you're going to be able to show us a little bit more here in just a little while. He's not looking at just one screen. There will be multiples, but we'll get to that here in a minute because there's so much happening. And Tori Carissimo from Overlook Horizon. I'm sorry I didn't say it right. Tori Carissimo. I said that to him the other day while we were in chat. We're talking to each other, and he's like, "That's a little too much." So I had to do it live because, of course, it's me. He said, "Killer looking control center, Tori." Just wait till you see what he's got
Thank you,
going on
Ted.
in front of him
Appreciate it,
too.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of his channel, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Same. Tori is awesome, and
Tori's awesome.
we love him. And he's been singing a famous song this week with a group of other people in a very weird, like, tweet thing. We might share that one later just so everybody can giggle. Hey, we got T. Bram Gary. It says Gary is an awesome guy. Hashtag Florida man. That's very important to remember that Gary is awesome for being from Florida. So
Thank you.
he's like, thank you. Appreciate that. So next up, we want to talk to Esther Trevino, who does some amazing things out there. Esther, share with us all the stuff that you're into and how you kind of got into the world that you're in now.
Sure. First, I want to say thank you for having me on your live stream again, and I'm happy to be here with all of you guys tonight. My main role right now in terms of connecting to people in the space industry is being a NASA Solar System ambassador. My main focus is primarily speaking to teenage students and Girl Scout camps, but since quarantine kind of shifted everything, now I do a lot more Zoom calls or Google Classroom. And I really like to try to focus to do more outreach with females so I can get more girls excited about STEM careers. Things I'm working on. I'm currently a student online at ASU. I'm getting my second bachelor's degree in astronomical and planetary sciences, which is really exciting. And I feel like the more that I connect with more people in this industry, the more excited that I am about just learning more from all of you, because I think that everyone contributes differently. So I'm excited to be here tonight.
Love it. Well, we have just an amazing group this evening. I love having everybody on, and it's going to be a fun talk because there's a few things that I've only heard about slightly, and that's some of Brian's work and some of Mike's work. Mike and I had like a bit of a call, and I just didn't even get into all the ins and outs of the cool stuff that they're doing. And now Gary's at OPT, so we got to pick his brain about that. And Gary has to get every single detail right since he's on OPT Telescope Stream. So that's really awesome. So we got to put Gary's feet under the fire, or on top of the fire, or fire under his feet. You know what I mean? It's a phrase, people say them. So I'm excited. And I think everybody here kind of has a little bit of love for astronomy. So I'm happy that it's. Sometimes we jump around. We talk about the things that are going on with rocket launches, all the programs that are going on. And Brian actually mentioned something earlier. I love talking about all the programs that are out there, and I had never heard of this one. So he brought this up to talk to Mike. Brian, you mentioned something called DART. So I would like to talk about that mission just a little bit and get some history of it for people. And it's also something we're going to see hopefully launch this year. It's supposed to be launching this year, right?
That's correct. Right now we're looking at launching in November, and DART stands for the Double Asteroid Redirection Test. This is going to be a technology test to see if we are able to, in fact, change the trajectory of an asteroid. This could be something that could be very important for all of us, as, of course, you are aware of, there are asteroids flying by us all the time. Some of them are near misses. And occasionally we have some that actually hit. And so being able to change the direction of an incoming asteroid could be of great importance to us. So this is going to be an impactor that will launch, and it will go to a double asteroid system. Didymos is the primary asteroid, and it's orbited by a moon called Dimorphos. And so the plan is to actually strike Dimorphos with enough force to alter its period around the asteroid Didymos. So we're going to see if our technology is up to what we think it is. So this will be launching from Vandenberg Air Force Base in California, and it's scheduled to launch this coming November. So that should be a very exciting thing to keep an eye on.
And we got back-to-back launches. We got October. We hope it's going to be Halloween for JWST, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But Mike, is there any interest in that mission for you as the asteroid hunter? I mean, you don't do anything every single night. You only take a couple of pictures here and there.
Yeah, we just do a few pictures here and there. Well, I mean, November would be that'd be a great birthday present for me in November to go to a rocket launch. So I'm all for it, being right down the road. I would be there, man. I would love that. That'd be amazing. So no, I'm Well, I mean, it fits right in line with the work that we're doing. I'm assuming you're transferring over to me so we can talk about what we're doing here. Is that correct?
That was right. I was trying to be silky smooth with it.
That was
and it's
smooth.
not.
That was good. That was good. No. So, well, no, essentially, this for us, just a little background. This kind of started 2 years ago. My son and I have only been doing this for a few years. It started 2 years ago with us sitting in the driveway with our 8-inch SET looking through the eyepiece. We would sit out with our little star charts and look through that. And during that time, we were building computers and that kind of thing. I'd showed him how to do some of that stuff, and he was really getting into it. And I thought, hey, how can we incorporate the two? And we started kind of looking at stuff. And I thought, hey, you know what? We should do asteroid science stuff. Like we should take observations and see if we can do some actual real research that means something. And it kind of snowballed from there. And it's snowballed to a tremendous amount here. As many know, this thing has grown just dramatically for us. And this is literally started. This is a father and son team. Everything that you guys see, our setup that we have, it's my son and I together. He's a big brainchild behind this as well. The setup you do see is a little extreme. We stream live on Twitch. So we stream live all of the work that we're doing. We have our normal stream, so we answer questions of people and those kind of things. So we kind of geared it to look real nice. I have a 25-year background in television post-production. I'm actually an audio mixer for film and television. That's where my bread and butter came from. So through that, it was like, okay, let's build this thing and let's have some nice cameras and make this thing look presentable. But everything that you guys see behind me does have a purpose, has a use going on. The computer that you have behind me does run our stream. It's our streaming PC. It is also connected to my big ultra wide that I have. And then I have another system on the other side that is running the telescope. And I'll just show you guys that real quick. So let me go here. Sorry. And I have my stream kind of feeding in. So this is my control center. I have all three screens that you have. The red box that you guys see is controlling these screens, which is actually running the telescope. So we have essentially a fully automated sky survey that happens, sky search every night when weather pending that we can run. So essentially, my system will go out and it'll create a map. And it comes up and says, hey, we're going to search these areas tonight. Now, every night it changes the areas it's going to search. And then there's what it'll do is it'll run a script and it'll go through and it'll take images in those areas. And we'll take up to 1,000 images in a night. And what it's doing is it is imaging fields. So we have a RASA 14, and I'll show you guys that in a second. We have a field that images a field. We do a 30-second exposure of field. We move to another field. We move to another field. And we come back to that same first field like 20 minutes later. So we have 20 minutes in between. We go back through again. We come back to that same field again. Once we have 3 of those images of that field, then the system will take those 3 images. It'll stack them through, and it'll start looking for motion. And it's looking for objects. So so essentially, we're taking images, we're stacking them through, and we're looking for motion. And we have software that does that. So it is utilizing what's called SkySift. There's a gentleman in Brazil named Paulo Halverson who reached out to us. He saw we had a friend of his reach out to us who saw us on our social media that we had going on, said, hey, you guys need to mess with this software. So this is a custom software we have. This is not available for a quick download for anybody. It took a month of getting this software put in and doing all kinds of testing with our telescope. You guys can see our RASA 14 right above my head right now. It is actually running. And again, we stream this stuff. So this right here, this is the live image that comes in. When it comes in, it goes right to the SkySift software. SkySift will actually put in all the calibration frames, and then it stores it into a folder. And remember what I said, when it gets the 3 frames, puts them together, then it'll start blinking through, and it'll start spitting data to me saying, hey, here's some potential targets. So these, and it'll do that all night. Like we'll start getting these. I'll have to blink through when these are potential detections. So I'm looking for these detections. It'll blink, and I blink through these detections to see if there's anything there or not, if it's actually a real object or not. But here's the neat part. During this time, we're surveying the sky, and I'll show you, let me show you this real quick. I'll show you a map like tonight's survey. This is the map that came up. So you see these white boxes. This is where it's going to search tonight. Okay, so it's going to take all these boxes or fields. So it's going to image all these fields. It's going to take 3 images of each one of these fields through the night. That's just one part of the sky. It's actually going to do a lot of imaging outside of this tonight as well. So, but the system automatically creates that map. Okay, so it'll image through. But what happens is we capture known objects, known asteroids that are out there. And at any given time, as many of you know, I mean, there's we have the Minor Planet Center has like 1 million cataloged objects, right? So at any given time, there's thousands of objects up in the sky. Well, we will capture those in our survey. We will take those positions and we will submit that data to the Minor Planet Center. And that's how we, so we're taking observations. The Minor Planet Center is the holding tank for all things, asteroid NEO related. So our observations are essentially keeping an eye on even known objects. And we sometimes, depending on where we're looking in the sky, we can capture a huge amount. Last week, I did 1,132 asteroids. No biggie. I took positions on 1,132 asteroids in one night. I submitted all that data to the Minor Planet Center. Okay, so essentially, like right now, we started running this. I started running this about 20 minutes ago, and we can see that these are potential detections that it comes up with, and it gives me all the coordinate information and everything. This is all automated. I'm not doing anything, man. The system's doing it for me. We did capture a known object right here. Asteroid Mashona is what it's called. This is a designation. My system goes to the Minor Planet Center every single day and downloads the database automatically. So I have the updated positions of all the objects that are cataloged in the Minor Planet Center on a day-to-day basis. So I essentially go through and I start blinking through these detections to see if there's anything that's real or not. Somebody asked me, I get asked recently about Apophis. So our Sky Survey did capture Apophis last month, a month ago, and so I utilize visual pinpoint here. So here's Apophis. I don't know if you can hopefully you guys can see it. There's
a little small. If you can make it
a little
just
small,
bit
it's hard for me to make it bigger because this
Okay.
we're using visual pinpoint, which I wish it was a little bit more of a stream friendly software, but we use visual pinpoint. You can see if I magnify, see the little magnifying box. So there's the first frame position of it. There's the second frame position of it. There's the third frame position of it. So we submit every one of these positions, the coordinates, to the Minor Planet Center, as well as any motion, the speed of the object, as well as any magnitude variances through here. So this is Apophis that we captured, a month ago, as well. So that's what it looks like when we capture an object with our RASA. So the other thing that's the system will do is, as I said, it'll do transient detection. So we capture a lot of transients as well. So what happens is the system will take a library field. So it's imaging fields, right? So it'll take a library image of one of those fields and it'll catalog it on my drive. If I come back to this location a week from now, 6 months from now, a month from now, whatever it is, it'll pull up the library image and it'll pull up the new images of that, and it'll stack them and it'll look for any outbursts. So and if it finds them, then it says, hey, here's a potential outburst. Here's a dwarf nova that we discovered right here. And you can see the 3 bottom images. These are the reference images we took like a month before. You look in the very center of those reference images down the very bottom. There's nothing in the middle. But then we came back a month later, and all of a sudden there's a star sitting, like it looks like a star right in the middle of this thing. And if we look at the Deep Sky Survey image right in the middle, there's nothing there. So we discovered a dwarf nova right here out of that. And the system will automatically make those detections. And we essentially will submit that as well to the transient name servers as well. So the system is very fully automated that we have. This is our RASA 14 sitting on an MX Plus mount in our backyard observatory. Now, I look at this and I go, man, I remember we did start doing this science with an 8-inch. We were using an 8-inch SET with a Hyperstar, which gave us a very wide field, very fast telescope. We actually got our observatory code with the Minor Planet Center utilizing an 11-inch with a Hyperstar. We were doing that. And then our friends at OPT, shout out to them. they hooked us up with a RASA 14 many months ago, and we've been using that. And you can see the telescope slewing, automatically slewing to the next location to take a 30-second exposure. So this is our backyard observatory. Everything's fully automated that you see, and that's kind of the setup that we have going on here. So it's a lot of stuff that's happening, and you can see the script running and all those kind of things. But that's what we do here. So we're looking for objects, and we essentially do follow-up research on known asteroids as well, which is very important part of the science of asteroids, is obviously knowing where these objects are, what the speed of these objects, and what they are doing, and if their orbits have changed at all because of whatever causes. So that's kind of a big outline is the stuff that we have going on here. It's quite a bit, I know, but again, we stream on Twitch. We also have a YouTube channel, Asteroid Hunters on YouTube. We have Instagram as well, but our big thing is we like to stream this on Twitch on Sundays and Wednesday nights, weather pending. We've had some really horrendous weather the last few months, and it's because everybody's buying new gear, man. Everybody went into COVID and they all bought gear, so then it clouded up for everybody. So that's what happened.
I'm still awaiting my 8-inch telescope as well, so I completely understand. So Gary, get on that. You are now at OPT Telescopes. Perfect segue into me throwing Gary, under the bus there a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. He gets to talk about so 2 weeks now. You've been at this new job. You even got the T-shirt on to represent. You were talking about it a little bit with me before it happened, that you were hoping that you would get in there, and then you did, which doesn't shock me. And we've got to talk about the setup that Gary has in his own backyard, side yard, front yard at the end of his driveway area that scares the cops that live up the street and everything else. So, Gary, let's talk a little bit about your new job, and then I want to talk a little bit about the amazing. Well, I was gonna say that's definitely. So, Tori said that's definitely a follow for me. And what was funny is I could see in your Streamlabs it popped up in the corner that Tori was following you. So it's very, very meta that we saw that. But Gary, I'm super excited for you. One, congratulations. I know that you wanted to get into something that was more astronomy based, especially with the amazing work you do. So let's talk about your first couple of weeks. And I know it's been a little hectic and you're remote. You're actually based in Florida, not out in Carlsbad. So tell us what's been going on.
It's very fortunate to be there with the team. Great bunch of people. The first couple of weeks have been interesting. I left 30 plus years in IT, jumped off that ship and got on this new career path here. Preaching to the choir to anybody in this meeting, and a small percentage of the population that actually get to work in an industry where their passion is, or in my case, it's passion and hobby. So it's almost not like work. It's great, but how would I explain my first couple weeks? I'm still in training. So imagine all the questions that you've ever had since you got into this hobby, and just kind of push them all on the little table here, and then now just cover that in steroids. Multiply that by a factor of I don't know how many hundred, and shoot that through a fire hose. So that's kind of where it's been. But it's interesting. I've told some of the guys, that I'm trying to be that person that I've looked for when I got into the hobby. It's like, man, I wish I knew somebody that I could ask this or bounce this off of. So I try to be that person to others. One of the things that I like and found early on in this hobby is that for the most part, most of the people that are in this hobby have a pay it forward mentality. So really a great bunch of people. There's some, that, I had to learn this, you got to learn it yourself. But that's a great, group of people to be associated with. So I try to help others that, have questions, and that's kind of what I've been fielding so far at OPT. I've got a lot more to learn, I'm sure. Looking forward to it, and I'm still pinching myself that I'm working in astronomy. It's almost not like work. So very fortunate.
This is a perfect time to go into some of the amazing work that you have. So I want to bring this up first, and I want to kind of keep us all on the side, and then I'm going to choose some pictures. That this is Gary's work that he has on his Flickr page. I'll put some up, but this is with his setup. And okay, so Gary, can you give everybody a breakdown one more time what your setup is that you have captured this amazing work that we're seeing here? And then I just want to go through some pictures, especially the pictures that Gary gets of planets. It's just I've seen pictures that Gary has taken with his telescope in the backyard that to me looked like they were pictures from Hubble. They were so good. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that is a picture of a planet from somebody's home telescope. They're incredibly impressive. And his moon stuff, all of his stuff is really kind of mind blowing. So I definitely wanted to highlight this a little bit. And I know we got some videos and stuff to highlight later too. But I mean, just the detail on his pictures of the moon. It looks something more like from the Apollo program than anything. Like, it's just so impressive, the stuff that he does. And I don't know that you can do, wait, you can do full screen. There we go. That's a little better. So you can see some of the work here. And Gary, if you want to walk us through some of the things that we're seeing on some of these photos, please do, because they are amazing.
Yeah, in the lower, I guess lower right there, that's Clavius. It's upside down. South is up, so a lot of IAU people are probably screaming right now, but they like north is up. But I like flipping things around for visual, effect. You got to open up that jaw and drop it a little bit. So, or coming in, on a spacecraft or something for a landing. But Clavius there. You see Mauritius crater up towards like the left center. You can see that it's shadow from the central reflux peak kind of casting. But out towards the limb there, you kind of see a mountain, a peak, maybe just a little left of center. I believe that is the M1 peak, which is down there, I think, right off the rim of Cabeus crater, which is very close to the South Pole. And we've got Artemis eventually going to be going to, near Shackleton, which is very, very exciting. So that was kind of a neat view. But I'm a Terminator junkie. When you look at the moon, it really enhances, the terrain and brings it out to. It's just like, wow, look. Buzz Aldrin said it great, magnificent desolation. And I mean, you can't put less than those two words together to explain the view. And I'll do typically too, I'll put together some videos, maybe we'll see some later. I try to convey my state of mind when I'm at the eyepiece or a digital eyepiece. A lot of times my camera, I'll just look and slew around and look on the screen and show people. But take some pictures, share them. The views are so amazing that it's just a shame to. There's the straight wall there in the lower left corner. Looks like a little sword. There's there's up in the northeastern section. I think we got Carpenter crater up there, possibly Babbage, maybe. Just very. There's Plato and Vallis Alps. They're off to the right.
Seriously, the details are crazy in these photos.
Thank you.
I want to flip through a little bit just so we can get to some of the planet ones, because there's tons of moon ones in just the most recent one. Right now, I'm looking at his stream, so we start to get into some of the photos. Yeah,
there's the conjunction. Yeah, low resolution. That was the weakest I could get my 8-inch SCT, and I watched for a couple nights, and then finally
weakest.
Saturn and Jupiter fit in the same frame, and I did a little overlay on this because Saturn was really faint. Otherwise, Jupiter would have been blown out. So, but it was fun to catch that. It was a treat to look in the eyepiece and see two planets, two of my favorite things to look at in the night sky.
Speaking of which, wait till you see just some of the photos. We're gonna skip forward just a little bit. And okay, so look at this picture of Mars. That looks like a picture from Hubble of Mars, or like a space telescope. To me, I don't think I've ever seen anybody take a picture of the planets that's as intense as the ones that I've seen from Gary's Flickr. They're extremely impressive, and we get to see a lot of awesome people all around. But it's incredible.
I'm friends with several guys that do this, and their images blow mine away. So thank you very much for that. But yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun to do this.
let's get to, there's some of them from, there we go. Look at, just makes me want to go right now. I'll deal with the radiation when I get there, but just gorgeous photo of Saturn, another one of Mars, Jupiter. Like, okay, so if the big black spot that's right there, I'm guessing is a transit.
That is the shadow from the moon that's off there to the right, of the
Okay,
line.
so that's from the one from the far right. That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Like
So
the
if you
angle
draw a
of it.
line, you draw a line from that eclipse point, basically on the cloud tops through that moon. That's just going to go right at the sun.
Gorgeous, absolutely. I mean, look at it. Just like you can see the storms. You can clearly see the red spot. You can see the swirls to the left of the red spot, which is something that you rarely see in photos. Another one where you can see okay, do you know which moon we're looking at? Because we see one on the left and one on the right.
Yeah, the caption might be in the picture. I mean, there's some detail on, I believe the shadow is from the one right at the limb. It just completed. That might be, is that...
Io's on the left, Ganymede is on completed transit on the right.
Yeah, so Io's shadow was there a little later. But yeah, I mean, I even resolved a little bit of detail on Ganymede, which just, I still can't believe that you can do that from the end of my driveway.
Well, that's what's so beautiful about it, is that, we're seeing some of these images. There's just a few. I mean, there's a bunch of them. If you go to his Flickr, I'll throw the actual the full one. Flickr, if you don't know what Flickr is, it's just a photo and video platform. I think it's from was it from Yahoo originally, or it's still theirs, right? Flickr without the e.com /photos /GP Varney, and we'll put that in the comments below so that way you can look it up. But just whatever, that's amazing. These photos are incredible. And we'll definitely get back to some more of those later. I don't want to go too long, but I do see that we have some comments here. Oh, hey, and we got some love here for you from Tom Bramwell, who says, let me remove that for a minute. This is Tom Bramwell. Gary is a good friend of, is it Prima Luce? Is that how you say it? Because it's Italian, right?
Yes.
Prima Luce.
First Light Labs, Prima Luce Labs.
Ah, that makes sense. And we're very proud of his photography. Our CEO, Filippo, is a lunar geologist by training, and I'll always enjoy sending him the latest Gary Varney high-res image. He loves them. So that right there is always a huge thing to share with folks. We're getting a lot of comments from people that are very impressed with both what you're doing, what Mike is doing, and you have even, so Mike, everybody that's on tonight has already convinced my aunt finally that she has to get a telescope. I'm very happy to hear that. Always nice to hear when you can get your family together and they get convinced of it. So there's just a lot happening with what both of you all are doing. And then Brian, you get to go into work every single day to one of the coolest places ever, and you get to work on this on an even bigger scale with what you were doing. And so I think I want to make sure that with it's shorthand. Is it pronounced survey, or is it survey, or is it kind of like a play on?
Yeah, it's pronounced SSERVI, Solar System Exploration Research Virtual Institute. And what it is actually an institute within NASA that forms the bridge between human exploration with lunar and planetary science. Human exploration and science have not always marched in lockstep, but what we are working on is basically advancing the science that enables exploration and helping to plan exploration that enables science. So really working on those synergies. And so we have research teams across the country and around the world working on these types of projects. And just to build a little bit of a bridge to what we were just talking about, we have a conference every year, and it's available online. I'll get you information on that in a bit, and your audience is actually welcome to attend. But at one of our conferences recently held at NASA Ames, we started out the conference with actually a video of images that Gary had put together of the moon. And they were just breathtaking. And as everybody's looking at these incredible images of the moon, one of our principal investigators who was sitting next to me turned to me and he goes, "These new pictures from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter are amazing. When did these come in? I haven't seen these yet." And I just had to point out, no, that guy sitting over there got these with his 11-inch telescope in his driveway, and really made a huge impression.
Well, and that's so what we have a tendency to do. What I like to do is normally have a person come on that will sing a song, maybe play some music that is attached to space or some work that they have. Since we don't have that tonight, Gary actually gave us a couple of videos. So near the top of the hour, once we talk to Esther a little bit, I'm going to play that Apollo video. So Gary sent that to me, so that way you can see it. It's about 7 minutes long. So that'll give you a chance to kind of see even more of how he puts these things together, which is really, really impressive. And we actually have 2 videos, I think, from Gary. So they're just, it's mind blowing what he does once he takes those and puts those pieces together. I'm surprised it took this long for you to be, really full time in this. And so OPT kind of opens a lot of different doors for a lot of different people. My first telescope right behind me over here. I got that TPO 8-inch. It's on the way. I can't wait to be able to do some live streaming of the planets myself. And that kind of brings me to the awesome stuff that Esther's doing. Solar System Ambassador. Obviously, you're out there with telescopes, teaching people and showing people. And they even brought you on for their YouTube video. And I'll put the link below for OPT's Women of Astronomy not too long ago, which is an awesome video if you haven't seen that yet. We played it at the end of the show that Esther was on last time. We'll probably end up doing that again tonight. But Esther, I want to talk about all the things that you're up to and how you got involved with the Women of Astronomy video and kind of what that meant to you. Because there's everybody in that's incredible. And they're from all over the world. They did a really, really great job with that. You are muted. Actually, I think I muted you. There you go. Okay, there we go. I got you. You're good.
Okay.
Yep.
I was going to say OPT is incredible. I'm incredibly thankful that they put me as part of that OPT Women of Astronomy video. I got to connect with more people that are, sharing their passion for astronomy with the community online and in different ways and how they were inspired, which was cool because I feel like we share a lot on social media, but you kind of don't always talk about like where that began and what kind of inspired you to get more involved with this. So that video was fun because we got to kind of put together a collection of different projects that we worked on and where that kind of stemmed from for each of us. So I loved being part of OPT's Women of Astronomy video. I am so excited that, I'm sorry, that one of our panelists ended up being new to OPT because it's one of my favorite places. I live in San Diego. I'm born and raised here. OPT isn't far from me at all. I got to go and take a tour at the beginning of the quarantine there, and it was incredible. I was like, this place is a feast for the eyes. I want everything here. It's amazing. So
I have heard that the inside of the place is just you're definitely going to be having a field day. Like you can tell from the picture. I think it's you, Dustin. So I can't imagine that anybody's watching this on Clear Skies that doesn't know who Dustin is or who Mac is, but Dustin Gibson, the CEO, and Mac are in the photo. Mac just joined the team. So there's been a bunch of new people that have joined on to OPT this year. We talked a little bit about it recently. They've just been growing by leaps and bounds. When Dustin and Jenny, the two that run the organization, first took it over, I think it was the biggest distributor of telescopes in the country. Now it's the biggest distributor of telescopes in the world. So they've had a good few years since they took over. And now they've got Gary Varney, who's back from his absconding off with whatever he was running away with. So they've been really doing a great job with bringing these amazing people on that were incredible, astrophotographers. Mac's a light photographer, I think is what he does. I'm going to try and have Mac on the show here very soon. So hopefully I can snag him on a Saturday night that he's not in the middle of somewhere beautiful taking amazing pictures. But there's always something great going on. Everything I've heard about it is just like, man, I want to be there. That place just sounds incredible. I can't wait to go. And I'm mad because a year ago, what I mentioned a little bit earlier is that we all went to Yuri's night, and I went to Oceanside to go see a friend, and I had no idea what OPT was at the time. I didn't know. Well, I think I might have known what it was, but I found out really what it was about a couple days after I'd left Oceanside, and I went to actually, you know what? I might have to take that back. I think I found out about it that night. We went to Hans Haas's amazing SciComm, space bar. And it's just everywhere you look in every direction, it's some sort of memorabilia or his telescope, and it's just amazing. All the beers are named after either pop culture stuff or space stuff. And then there was a full setup of OPT stuff at Yuri's night. And I'm like, oh, I was just there. I missed this thing. So it was funny that a year later, everything happened almost a year ago, and Dustin started doing those IG lives. But we've got so many people out there that are doing great streaming things, and Esther, you do a lot of outreach stuff. So how did you kind of get into astronomy to the point you said, I want to start really doing outreach and connecting with people? And then, of course, your jump into NASA's SSA, the Solar System Ambassador.
Sure. My background is initially in finance, and when I wasn't working, I would do a lot of outreach through the Planetary Society. I loved being involved with the different events that they had and needed volunteers for. So it started with things like star parties at Griffith Observatory, or they would have us at Long Beach Comic-Con for Space Fest, basically, that was there. I think that's what it was called. But each year, I feel like I got more and more wrapped in different projects that they were working on. And I was commuting from San Diego to the LA chapter at the time. I was like, I have to be here. I need to do this. Like, my weekends are filled with all the stuff and things that have to do with astronomy and space that Planetary Society had available for us. And then I was told about the NASA Solar System Ambassador program through someone at Planetary Society. And then I applied, and this is my third year doing it. And I love it. It's so much fun.
And so what do you have to do as a solar system ambassador? It's like there's requirements to, one, get in, and also there's requirements to stay, one, I understand. That people will be like, oh my God, I'm in, and then not really keep up with what you have to do, which is a certain amount of outreach and so on. Is it just the outreach, or do you have to do a great deal of things to connect?
I mean, initially when you apply, they have you list different ideas in terms of types of outreach that you would like to pursue doing as a NASA ambassador and what it means to you to have that connection, I think, to reaching the public on behalf of NASA, so that we're kind of like these pillars of media for them. And depending on what platform you're going to use, not just, speaking at events in person, but are you also going to utilize other tools like the internet? Like, I think it's so cool that you guys are active on Twitch. I love Twitch. It's such a great streaming unifier. So year after year, you don't necessarily reapply. You just want to remain in active status. There's definitely a continued stream of events that you are expected to, partake in on your own. But it is cool to just kind of get creative with it. I think each year that I've been an ambassador, it pushes me more to just see how many more people I can connect with. And the quarantine was a new challenge because I'm used to doing so much outreach in person. So now planning things on Zoom or Google Classroom, or how I can connect more with kids that I'm mentoring, has been different for me. But it's actually been a lot of fun, because I think that it has opened up a different type of outreach that I hadn't expected, just because so many people are constantly on their phones or looking at a screen anyway. So it's actually been a great relief.
And so, I mean, we're talking a little bit about just, what you can do outreach wise. And so many people have been doing things, through streaming. And, Mike, how long have you been doing this total now? It's been how many years?
We just passed the 2-year mark.
Just past the 2-year mark. And then, of course, you got the Raza, which, if nobody's ever seen one of these before, they're massive OPT telescopes. If you've never been on earlier streams in the week, if Dustin has the chance to get on, that's when they open up all the telescopes that are out in the middle of the desert and share this. But it's a really big scope. Like, it's absolutely massive. You can see there's a video I think we've actually got that I might actually still have on here, where Dustin's standing beside one. And Dustin's not a little guy, and it is quite large compared to him. So these are just really big scopes.
Yeah, I have a picture of my son and I standing next to it. Here, let me show you that.
Perfect.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
It's not a little scope, right? Like, this thing ain't going anywhere. You can see the counterweights there at the bottom.
Yeah. But we didn't start there. You know what I mean? I always tell people, like, people see that and they go, oh man, I go, we didn't start there. The neatest part about all this is, and Dustin talks about it. We talk about it all the time, is that, and Gary knows, you can do this work with the gear that's available. Cameras have gotten so good. The optics on these scopes have gotten so good for us to be able to do viable work right out of our backyards. It wasn't like that 10, 15 years ago, and that's the neatest part of all of this is that you literally can go down to your local OPT store, purchase equipment, and be imaging and be taking asteroid observations that night, you know, in a sense with the gear that's available. And now with the internet, obviously, and, you know, Twitch and all YouTube and all these you know, streaming platforms, you can outreach. I mean, it's been really amazing for us to see the community grow. That's been the big thing. I mean, we have our Discord. We actually have several people in our Discord that are doing other science related stuff when it comes to asteroids. We work directly with one of my great friends, Sam Dean, who's very well known in the asteroid community. And he's actually doing, he does really neat stuff. He actually does pre-covery of objects. So if there's an object that was discovered, you know, in the last maybe year, he'll look at it and go, hey, you know what? I'm going to go back and look at some sky surveys that are available on the internet from other sky surveys from years ago, and look at those coordinates, see if I can find that object, you know, 10 years prior, or 8 years prior, or 5 years prior, or whatever it is, and see if I can find the positions and submit some of that data. And he's really good at that. He's discovered and recovered tons and tons of objects, and he doesn't even own a telescope. So he's doing that work right there in our Discord. We have guys that are actually made some Jupiter moon discoveries. We had gentleman Kenneth who just was in Sky and Telescope magazine last month or so, he discovered some Jupiter Trojan moons there, and that happened all right in our Discord. And my son and I, when we started this 2 years ago, there wasn't a lot of, when it comes to asteroid research, there wasn't a lot available to go like to see, you know what I mean? It was like, when you guys know, you want to figure something out, you Google it, right? You go to YouTube, it's like, okay, I got to figure this out. You go out there. There wasn't much there. So it took us a while to figure things out. And so we've trying to change that. We want to share that with people. We're trying to show people what we're doing. I had somebody from a university in Spain reach out to me last week, said, hey, we got a 14-inch telescope. We're going to do observations for the school. How do we do it? And I talked him through it. I talked to a Boy Scout community last weekend. I had another gentleman reach out to me from Israel or something that had made, it was really funny. He actually has an observatory code with the Minor Planet Center. And he reached out to me the other day because he took some observations of a brand new object that had just been discovered. And he was having trouble submitting it. And he reached out to me like, help me. And I'm thinking, man, this guy's probably got way more experience than me. Like, but he saw us, you know, he saw our channels, he saw us, and he reached out. And it's just been an honor to be able to like share it with the community and have people around the world reaching out saying, hey, how do you do this? What do you do? You know, and try to teach people as well. And that's been what it's been about, because at the end of the day, this literally started with a dad spending time with his son. That's how this whole thing started. So we want to keep adhering to that, you know? Love it.
And so we have a comment from Twitch. Wade Prunty wants to know, have you shown your images yet?
Wade.
So yeah, Wade's probably messing with you a little bit.
See, Wade messed with us. So there's a joke in the community, because, you know, on my stream, everybody's like, when are you going to take some deep sky images with that beautiful instrument? And I go, no, man, we take images of white dots, man. Like, we shoot dots. That's what we do. Our telescope is set to dot only. So these guys, we mess with each other all the time, because I say I leave that stuff to the experts. We don't do that. We're only in it for the science, you know. So that's the joke. That's why he's messing with us.
He did it that you would laugh. So I'm glad to hear it. And so what I want to talk about a little bit now too is that, you know, not only that you have the ability to do outreach with people, and Brian, that's a big thing that so many people don't know about. Pretty much everything that comes out from NASA, you get all the data, all the abilities to be able to utilize that stuff. And I know that you had some stuff that you were going to show us too. Yeah. But yeah, please let us know a little bit about how people can get the data that you have, how it's important to what you do. And if there's anything that you want to share with us, please do, because that's exciting if you don't know about that.
Absolutely. I'd love to. So again, fortunately, we have a vast amount of data that we're getting from spacecraft across the solar system. And what I'm going to try to do is show you an example of our online portals here. So one of the portals that we have we call it Moon Trek. And this again allows you to view the surface of the moon as seen through the eyes of many different instruments aboard many different spacecraft. This is all available on the web. You do not have to install anything. It's all browser based. But with Moontrek, you can visualize and analyze a huge amount of data. So for an example, we'll use the South Pole as an example because we're working extensively with the South Pole right now preparing for Artemis. So this is a view of the South Pole of the moon as seen through the narrow angle camera aboard the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. And as you can see, this area is just full of deep, dark shadows.
Crazy.
Shadows are permanent shadows. These are areas where the sun has not shone in billions of years. And as a result, we have found that there are actual deposits of water ice in the floors of some of these shadowed craters. And I have a great story to tell about that if we get time for it later. But changing our view here to a laser altimetry view, we can actually pierce those shadows and see the terrain inside the shadowed areas. We can switch to a slope map, useful if you're planning a traverse. We can then overlay the actual areas of permanent shadow. We can take a look at temperatures. This is average temperature, maximum temperature. We can look at hydrogen abundance. We have thousands of different data layers that you can use. We also have tools, so you can pan and zoom anywhere across the lunar surface, and measuring distances or calculating elevation profiles is as simple as just drawing a line. So here we've drawn a line across the crater Tycho, and you can measure the depth of the crater, the height of the central peaks, very, very simple. You can also draw a bounding box around any terrain you want and get back either an STL or OBJ file that you can send to your 3D printer. So you can make 3D prints of any terrain that you like. You can switch into the 3D interactive view, and you can interactively go flying across the surface of the moon. Here we'll fly down into Tycho crater, and we can even go traversing across the floor of the crater, driving up toward the central peak.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And one of the
That's
really
incredible,
fun things we can do too is you can use the portal to just draw a path with your mouse across anywhere along the surface. Just draw a path, whatever you want. The portal will then come back to you with a QR code. Scan that QR code into your smartphone. Put your smartphone in a pair of cheap cardboard compatible $5 goggles, and whatever path you drew, you will now fly in virtual reality. So that's a lot of fun too. We have a wide range of tools that we make available to mission planners and planetary scientists, but there's also a good selection of tools that are available to anybody who wants to use our portals. And I've focused on the moon here, but we have portals also for Mars, Mercury, 8 of Saturn's moons. We have the asteroids Bennu, Ceres, Ryugu, and Vesta, and more coming. So
I see Titan out there. Makes me very happy.
Yep, I will invite people to go to trek.nasa.gov and explore the solar system with us. And if I can, what I'd like to do is I'll jump into our portal.
Sure.
An example, I'll fly to a location that, let's see if I can do this here.
Great.
I'm going to fly to, so here we are in the Moontrek portal.
Nice.
And I can spin the moon around to any location I want. and we can get into interactive mode, and we're going to fly down here toward Mare Crisium. And as we fly down here, we're going to start seeing a volcanic cone. And this is actually an area of potential interest. We have a flight scheduled through the Commercial Lunar Payload Services Program that will be going to Mare Crisium. And one of the areas of interest, the potential landing sites, is right alongside this volcanic cone here. It's a very subtle object. It's low profile, low slope. Most lunar volcanoes are. Its shading is the same as the shading of the area around it. This I consider to be a really, really challenging object to see from the surface of the Earth. And so I tossed it out to Gary and the selenology group, the amateur selenology group that he helps lead, to see if, well, could this actually be visualized from here on Earth? And I thought it was probably a long shot, but giving Gary a challenge like that was something that I think he found to be irresistible. So at this point, I'm going to toss it to Gary and let him tell the story.
Gary, we'll go to you, and I'm also going to throw up a picture of Gary's setup here in just a minute. It's uploading right now, but it's a nice one, and it even rolls around, which makes it very interesting. So, Gary, go ahead and give us the story, and I'll throw this up.
Yeah, I mean, Brian gave me that challenge, and there's my scope with my new JMI wheelie bars on it. My back demanded that I buy that.
Not word. Yep.
But no, Brian threw a challenge at me, and it's not often that somebody from NASA says, "Hey, can you do this?" And I'm like, "Sure." So, a couple attempts I tried. You kind of get the terminator needs to be real close, since this is such a featureless area, and it's 5-6 kilometers max. Brian, the width of that feature, the little center cone. So. The first few attempts were bust, and then I happened to go out one night and just past, I think it was just past or just before full moon, and I saw it. I could actually see it in a live view, and I was jumping up and down like the guys when they landed Perseverance, so, which I did when they landed that as well. So you could have swore I was there with them. But I sent that to Brian, and he turned around and sent it to the Firefly Aerospace, and he kind of clued me in a little bit on an email, which I think I posted today on Facebook. I was very proud of that. But I think I don't owe Brian a beer anymore. I owe him a keg.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with the kegerator.
we certainly owe you one too. We'll sit there and celebrate together. But yeah, I should point out that Firefly Aerospace is the company that is going to be sending this mission to Mare Crisium coming up. So we're very excited about that. And again, this is, I think, one of the leading candidate sites there in Mare Crisium for this landing to happen. So we're very, very excited. And everybody was really pleased to see that image that Gary got of it, with that beautiful shadow stretching out from the volcanic cone.
Lovely stuff. Okay, so as we take, we're gonna take a minute and show this amazing video that Gary shared with me. This is his Apollo video, the landings, which we were talking about a little bit earlier. If you want to, I was gonna say, you want to give us a little setup?
Actually, Brian and I kind of brainstormed on this. I was looking for a new project to do, and I reached out to Brian, and we, through Facebook Messenger, probably, I don't know how many thousand messages back and forth, but we came up with this idea, and I went with it. He helped me on it. And I got it done just in time for the 51st anniversary of the Apollo landing. I tried to get all the landing sites myself, but it just, Murphy and seeing. So I reached out to a number of my friends that also do this. You'll recognize some of the names in the credits, and put this together. I reached out to Nigel Stanford to use his soundtrack on this, and he just was very happy to do to let me use it. So yeah, go ahead and kick it off, and I hope you enjoy this. This is pretty cool. This visits all 6 landing sites from Earthbound telescopes, from telescopes, spacecraft in orbit, and from boots on the surface.
All right, here we go. Oop. Awesome, awesome stuff, man. Like,
Thank you.
gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I love that jam. So
Yeah, the those
busy guy, man. Like you put some amazing stuff in there. And so Gary wanted to show us one other thing here, so that way he can show off his awesome shot with I believe everybody knows who that is, right?
That's Harrison Schmidt.
Yep.
Lived and worked on the moon for 3 days, and thanks to Brian, I got to meet and shake his hand, and it's just I can't put into words, how that was. But
always nice meeting the moonwalkers, right?
Yeah,
puts things in there
and,
a little bit of.
And the images from the trek came from Brian. The images on the surface are out of this book. If you don't have it, you should get it. Apollo the Panoramas. Mike Constantine, another stand-up guy. He went to his office in London, I believe, during the lockdown to send me those pictures. So that tells you, what kind of person he is too. So, there was the last image up there on Apollo 17. That was Harrison Schmidt standing next to the rover, and I believe that's when he found the orange soil there next to that crater, if memory serves. So. Yeah, that was a lot of fun to put that together.
It's a great video, man. The pieces are great. And so I do have to do a bit of shout out. We are hoping that if we end up getting to have our event this year for Colorado Springs Astronomical Society, one of the biggest ones in the West for star parties is Rocky Mountain Star Party. And last year we were supposed to have Harrison Smith and Leonard David. So if everything goes well, I think they're going to move it back. I think it's still going to be in like the June, July area, and they're hoping to have it this year. So we might be able to get Harrison to that. That would be great. And it's a couple-day event. And I haven't been able to go yet because I always had to DJ through the weekends. And then last year would have been my first chance. COVID happened, but I think that it's going to happen this year, so I'm really excited about it. It looks like some of these are going to be on now. Texas Star Party is happening this year as of today, so makes me happy to hear that some of these are actually going to happen. So I can't wait to get out there. I still have yet to do a single major star party. I've only been able to go to a night event. So being out there and hanging out with these people for days at a time and really getting to dive in is going to be an impressive one. So I can't wait. So I'm guessing everybody here has probably got a favorite star party. It seems like everybody, I think, is probably an astronomy fan. So Esther, do you have a favorite one that you're looking forward to that you hope might happen this year? You are muted. I think there we go. There you go. Yep. There you go.
I would love for Griffith Observatory to have their monthly star party come back. I miss them so much. It's usually littered with telescopes all over the lawn, and you get so many people that come in and you get to talk about what's going on in the night sky. And Los Angeles Astronomical Society is there, and the Planetary Society is there, and it's just all my favorite people. It's so much fun, and I really hope that those come back soon. I definitely miss it.
So for those that don't know what Griffith Observatory is, you know what Griffith Observatory is. It's been in every other movie shot in LA for quite some time. If you see them, they pan out in Bad Boys 3, Bad Boys for Life, which, by the way, Bad Boys for Life was the #1 movie of last year because of everything that happened. Just take a minute for that. Bad Boys for Life was #1. #3 was Sonic the Hedgehog because of all the places having to close. So if you thought it was a really weird year, just throw that out there. Anyway, so if you see that pan out and you see that beautiful dome up on a hill, that is Griffith Observatory. If you don't know about it, it's incredible. There's no parking. And if there's parking, it's expensive. So prepare yourself for that. I honestly think it may be cheaper. I think it was cheaper for us to just get a lift to the top and then get one back than it was to get parking. But it is incredible, and I can only imagine what a star party is like there. So
I feel like they've kind of worked out the parking a little bit. Now there's the lot upstairs gets filled up really quickly, but you can park all the way down that entire hill. Basically, you just might end up walking for, a good 10 minutes. So make sure you wear comfortable shoes.
There is that, and you're walking up the mountain. So if you want to get a hike, you can get a hike in and get some astronomy in. There's nothing wrong with that. At least you're not hiking up with your own telescope on your back. You get to go up to the giant telescope. So you don't have to go with what Gary said, where you had this thing.
Beautiful.
So
bring that upstairs.
Gary, is there one? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's Tom Bramwell called that the Florida Exploration Rover. Speaking of Tom.
Very, very nice. Well done, Tom. I think you're still on there. I think you're still listening. So that's a great one. We're gonna have Tom on the show in the future, man. He's always great. We've had a couple different chats over the last year or so. He's somebody that I met because of the OPT stream, so I'm glad to know him. Gary, is there any particular one that you're a big fan of? Star parties, or just multiple day one, or just events you like to go to? You were out. I think you were out at Frost recently, weren't you?
Well, speaking of Frost, there's NASA did an outreach. Little guy that you might have heard of, Brian Day, came to Miami for the Mercury transit, and he requested that I be there with him, and that was a tremendous honor as well. We were on the roof of the museum. I think they told us, Brian, was it 1,500 at least people that were there, and I think probably close to 600 people came up to the roof and looked through my Newtonian telescope with a solar filter on it at Mercury. And that was to show that to so many people and just watch their expression, just that's the sun. I'm like,
isn't the sun just beautiful? And it's not something you get to see all that often. Yeah, not many people go out and show it. I've done some daytime events, and we've had the Astronomical Society come out and show it to people, and they're always shocked by it. And it's really kind of amazing the love that it gets on, because so many people take beautiful pictures of the moon. You don't see that many people really doing sun stuff. So when it pops on Instagram, when somebody gets a really amazing shot, it's just everybody just goes off about it, which is really nice to see. It's nice to see the love for the sun too. Like, you know, we look at all the other stars, not that much love is given to it. So I'm glad that you all had a great event there. I can't wait to see Frost. I'm going to be in Miami possibly at the end of May, and I've heard great things about it. I heard it's a massive, like this massive new place. Used to be a little bit smaller, and now they've made this huge, beautiful place. So if you want to give us some details on it, Gary, sell me on it.
It is a fantastic facility, as Brian can contest to. They have lots to do there, a lot of interaction. Bring the kids. There's a lot of stuff that'll keep their attention. They have a nice, I guess it's a theater area where Brian and one of his other team members, they put on a presentation, and they showed one of my videos there too. So I guess the beers are lining up for Mr. Day.
Nothing wrong with that. Brian.
I actually have a image we took from the roof that day.
Oh, please share.
And let me see if I can pull that up here. So here we go. And this was a composite shot we got of Mercury, and you can hopefully see
gorgeous
the transit going across there. As you can see, there was not a lot of activity going on the sun, but we are starting up into cycle 25 right now, and things are starting to pick up. And I've got a shot here I took just this weekend.
Awesome.
And yeah, this is my driveway effort here, and as you can see, the sun is starting to wake up. So that's all really good news.
So, Brian, let's talk a little bit about your astronomy and the stuff that you're doing. That image is absolutely gorgeous. What's your favorite thing to shoot? What are you using? It's the sun really kind of your specialty, or you like to do it all? What's your thing?
Oh, gee. Well, in terms of the lunar and planetary, I am at the steep part of the learning curve right now. Fortunately, I'm learning from Gary, and he's been very, very helpful in sharing his knowledge. Deep sky stuff for a long time. I've enjoyed doing that, and as you can see, I'm getting very, very excited about the upcoming solar program or solar activity. I'm a dedicated eclipse chaser, and I have gone all over the world to chase total solar eclipses and image them. Been on the border of northern Mongolia and Siberia in the wintertime.
Wow.
15,000 feet up in the Andes. We were on the island of Curacao in the Caribbean during Carnival. I'm glad I had a camera because I don't remember a damn thing from that trip.
My kind of guy, Brian. My kind of guy.
It's just, literally, we're out in the savannah of Africa, just the outback of Australia. It's a wonderful way to see the world, to go and chase the moon shadow. And so that's probably one of my favorite ways of doing astrophotography, is chasing the moon shadow.
What got you into it? Was it just the very first one you saw and you're like, okay, I want to really travel the world to see this? Or was it just, hey, here's a great way for me to spend vacations seeing this incredible thing again? I know, I'll just get to travel the world, because it's never the same place, as most people know. Every time that we see it, it seems like it was in Chile, it was here. The next one's going to be across the U.S. and like the Texas areas, and kind of, I think the arc, if the U.S. is here, I think it's kind of, well, let me flip that. If you flip my image, it's going to go like across the U.S. like this, I think. So there's a lot. There's some stuff definitely coming up with those.
Yeah, and I've been interested in astronomy since before I could walk, literally. My parents used to tell me stories of when I was a little kid. They'd carry me outside, and I'd be pointing up at the moon and stars. But I remember going to see my first total solar eclipse, and I was just absolutely blown away. There was nothing like it. And I sat down right then and there and started planning out the rest of my vacations throughout the rest of my life by where the moon shadow is going to be. And it's been glorious. It's just been a fantastic way to see the world and go to places that you probably in other cases would never have thought to have gone, and just seen some amazing things.
Siberia in the winter is that's madness. I can't imagine being there. Like, you got lucky there was even a sky. Like, you would think like Siberia in the winter, it's just clouds.
That was a tough one. That one, it was actually snowing during first contact, and we didn't see much. And then all of a sudden, there was a kind of a thinning of the clouds, and we got to see the eclipse. But a fun story about that: we were setting up figuring out this day before, figuring out where we were going to set up our scopes and tromping through the snow, and the snow is just, up to our hips in places. And as we're tromping around and we've got our guide there with us, we look out, and on the horizon, we see this guy on a horse galloping through the snow. And we look and turned to our guide and said, "Hey, what's this?" And he's galloping right toward us, something like right out of a Monty Python movie. And he goes, he is from the next village. He's heard there are foreigners here, and he's never seen foreigners.
Wow.
So he's coming here to see us. And he goes, yeah. And I go, "How far away is the next village?" And he said, 2-day ride.
Wow.
And he's ridden through the snow for 2 days just to see us? And he goes, yes. He has never seen foreigners before. So here he comes.
What?
He comes right up next to us, looks at us, shakes his head, turns around, and rides back over the horizon.
What? He shook his head and just went away. What? Okay, so what did
Apparently
he look
we weren't
like?
worth the trip.
I was gonna say, yeah. What was the? He heard it was going to be foreigners, but didn't he know that you were coming from a place where you were generally going to look a little bit, like, what did you think that you were going to look like? I guess I wondered.
No
so he
idea.
didn't say a word to anyone. 2-day ride.
Just looked at us, shook his head, turned around, rode back.
Apparently, he had nothing to do for 4 days, so he just.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, he just took his Christmas. There, like, it was holiday, should I say? So, all right, fair enough. Mike, is there anything in particular that you miss about the outreach going out to your local museum, capturing stuff? Any big events that you like to travel to? Obviously everybody loves Griffith, so you probably been there a few times. Maybe out to the Mojave, anything like that?
I have been to Griffith. In fact, about 13 years ago, I set up a telescope there because I was part of the Astronomical Society at one point. So, done that. But I'm looking farther, man. We have in the work that we're doing, we have many people around the world that are very interested in what I'm really trying to do is we're actually looking to take the software that we have, this automation software, and install it into some bigger telescopes around the world. So in some darker skies. So we've got a gentleman named Zarzam in Abu Dhabi who has a 24-inch plane wave, and
Nice.
him and I are Mike Akey. They do the Worldwide Variable Star Hunter team, and Nazar has agreed to allow us to install our this SkySIF software onto the plane wave, and be in the dark skies out there. I've also been talking quite a bit with Matt Dietrich from Planewave, and he's been sending pictures of he's down there in Chile right now making some installs. So for us right now, it's like we're just all about trying to find other locations to expand our search and our horizons outside of where our location is, and we're looking for dark skies. But the big thing for us too is I'm also, I have all this crazy technology stuff around me, but as you can see, you see the books next to me.
Yep.
I have books. I actually have an astronomical library next to me. I don't know if you could see here some of the books.
Yep.
And I'm still very much an old school look through the eyepiece kind of guy. And in fact, about what was it, a few weeks ago, we pulled our 8-inch SET out that we had, and I set up, and I have, I actually have star charts, and this is a Burnham Celestial Handbook that I have all the backing pulled out of it, so you can lay it down, and when you're looking through the eyepiece and you're looking at some of the stuff, you can read about what Robert Burnham was seeing, and I like to spend time with my kids doing that, and so it's I don't know what it is. There's something about that kind of astronomy that I actually just love. I have the books because I have a real fascination for 16th, 17th century astronomers. The William Herschels of the day and stuff. I just love, man. I totally love that, because I think to myself, what did these guys do? The amount of work that these guys did with little to nothing that they had for the time, it was amazing. It was amazing to me. So I don't know. So we're just, I got a picture here of my, this is our 8-inch that we have that I set up in the driveway last week. We have it wrapped with our Asteroid Hunter wrap on it, but sitting on a CGX mount. But we just, I had my wife and my 10-year-old daughter and my 16-year-old son, and we sat out there for hours, and we were just looking at objects all night, and it was awesome. It's just it's an awesome experience. So I very much, and it's funny because I hadn't looked through the eyepiece in a while. I mean, we're doing this research all the time, and it had probably been about 2 years since I looked through the eyepiece the other day, and I finally got out there, and I looked. As soon as I looked, I turned to my son and I was like, "Man, I miss this. Man, it's like I don't know. There's something about it. Do you get all the details you do with cameras? Absolutely not. But there's just something about being out there. So I don't know. We got a lot of different things. I wanted to go to NEAF this last year, man. I was really bummed. Like my son and I were going to be at NEAF, man. We were planning on it. That was supposed to happen. Then COVID hit, and so we're hoping to get to some of those events that are happening around the world and be able to experience that. Hopefully, this will all end soon, so we can all get out there.
Everybody's go out there. Hook yourselves up. Make sure to get you can get the vaccine when you can, man. And let's get back to traveling again and seeing each other. Gary, you said you've got a book for Mike. What's the book? Atlas of the Moon.
Yes,
awesome.
But this one, according to Chuck Wood, is the only one on the planet that both authors have signed.
Signed
Chuck
it.
Wood
Nice. Very
and
nice.
Maurice Collins. I met Maurice in Orlando. And
nice.
I met Chuck up in West Virginia when my mom was still alive, and he lived maybe a half hour away. So I went down, met him, took him to lunch, and my two brothers and I, and that was probably one of the most amazing lunches that we ever had, was to hang out with Chuck. He's unbelievable knowledge of the moon. And
I just want to thank everybody real quick. Those of you that are not from West Virginia that didn't start singing the song, we love the song. Being from West Virginia, but
that's true.
We are also tired of people trying to get us to sing along with it. So anyway, Gary, go ahead.
That's true. We share a heritage there, and grew up in the mountains of West Virginia, and my legs are both the same length. Usually if you live on a hill, one's longer than the other.
You just got like just a little, the hillbillies, man. That's part of it. Tom says that he also misses NEAF. So I've heard of it. I've not been able to go to one yet. So I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to do that. And you know what? With a bunch of people that love astronomy on, let's talk about it a little bit. We finally on Halloween are going to see James Webb Space Telescope. Fingers crossed, go up. And everybody's just nodding their head, man. There's been a ton of extra money, a ton of extra work, but I personally have never been worried about it, and always said that it's going to be worth it. Like we saw what's happened with every telescope before it. They've always far outlasted. We had a little bit of there was a bit of scare with Hubble earlier this week and had to go in safe mode, but everything's fine and it's back to work. But James Webb is just going to be this outrageous thing that we've never seen the like of it before. So I know I'm stoked. Brian, we'll go to you first. You're actually, you're there. You're at NASA. I'm sure that there's a buzz through every single one of the facilities. How excited are you for it? Is there anything in particular about the mission that you can't wait for?
I am so looking forward to seeing this thing launch. I've gotten the opportunity to see it when it was in the clean room there at Redondo Beach, and then see it at Goddard. And it was impressive in both those places, but boy, it's going to be great to see it actually take off. One of my former bosses is going to be doing research with it. The thing is that, yeah, there are a lot of things we are anticipating that we're going to be seeing from it, but the real exciting part is going to be the discoveries that come at us from just out of nowhere, things that we just had no idea of. This is going to open up the universe to us in ways that we haven't seen since the early days of Hubble. So this is going to be just fantastic.
I love that. That's a wonderful answer too, because I mean, what ended up being the thing that really shocked everyone, it was deep field. Something that okay, hey, listen, we're just going to point in the sky. Was it the size of a nickel or the size of a quarter? I can't. It doesn't matter which size you say, because both are tiny when you say this. And just everything that we saw, all these, just this countless. It looked like dark sky. Nope, nowhere close. It's just countless amounts of galaxies out there, and that's awesome. Like, what are we going to see when we start to look back at that far in time, that far away? I'm just I can't wait, man. I'm stoked. You can tell by the smile on my face right now that I can't wait to see it. So,
and we're going to get this avalanche of data, this huge amount of data, and the thing is this data belongs to the American public.
Yep.
They paid for it, and fortunately, we have again this wonderful army of the solar system ambassadors, and who are doing this amazing job of getting this data out to the public. And it's a massive undertaking, because we have just so much stuff to work with, and to have these experts to say this is something that is going to make the impression, that is going to light the fires and get people excited about what's going on. And so I just want to thank Esther and her colleagues for the incredible work they do, going out there and really getting all of this amazing NASA data out there in front of the eyes of the public.
Esther, we'll go to you next. I mean, perfect segue there, right? Give the shout out. So we have tons of SSAs that have been on this show before. Esther's one of them. Tell us what you're most excited about and how you plan to get it out to the public.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for the James Webb Telescope. I even have a mask that I found on Sartorialist that has like an image of it. I'm so excited. And thank you for the shout out. We would not have any of the content or amazing things to share with the public if it weren't for you guys. So thank you for everything that you do. It's really cool that, it's something that we can really connect with as a whole, as humanity. So I think that when all of that starts to trickle out into the news, it's just going to create like this crazy wave of excitement, and I can't wait.
We have
sorry. And you also asked me like what I'm going to use. I will be using.
Sure.
We're still in quarantine at this point. Sorry, guys, I got excited.
No worries at all. Obviously, everybody's grinning right now talking about this, so it's completely okay to get a little off track and be like, is it October yet? October, we should all be vaccinated. Everybody should be back out and like doing stuff.
I know, right? Yeah.
I'm so ready. Oh my gosh, it's just insane. I love being able to connect through the screen, but I definitely miss getting to, see people in person and interact. But yeah, I'll be using a lot of Zoom and social media, maybe even Twitch as well. I would love to connect with more of you. So I think that would be a lot of fun. And I'm definitely just counting down till October. I'm very excited.
It's going to be great. So let's get to you next, Mike. So are you going to take a little step away from the asteroid hunting to dive into all the data that we're going to be getting back from this? And is it something that might take you away from asteroids for a little bit?
Well, the other thing that we have been involved in is I mentioned the gentleman in Abu Dhabi, the 24-inch plane wave.
Yep.
What they've done is they do test observations. They're a SG1 observatory, and they've we actually
What is an
have been.
SG1?
Well, it just means they're basically essentially they're qualified to they've been qualified to be able to follow up on these objects. Essentially.
Oh, nice. Okay.
You know, so we're part of a research team with them. We do the asteroid side, but they also do that. But we've been able to be part of the of that, like doing. You know, they actually discovered two Neptune-sized planets orbiting a white dwarf. We did just over a year ago, and my son and I were controlling the telescope remotely here from when we were doing it. So we love that kind of stuff. So you know, when James Webb goes up, like we're gonna be checking all that stuff out as well. I mean, anything that's science related and those kinds of things, that data, we want to jump all over those things and check out that stuff for sure. We're so excited that it is going up. But yeah, that's kind of the other stuff we are in, is the test stuff, which is the exoplanet, which is the sexy science that's going on out there these days. You know,
yeah,
that's the fun stuff that everybody's like, oh, the exoplanets, like how cool is that? You know, to find other worlds. So
that we had no idea,
research,
like we didn't have proof of, and now we're in the like nearly 5,000 mark, I think.
Oh yeah,
something crazy like that.
It's gotten massive. You know, the amount that's going on, and it's so amazing just that they can how the detections happen, and even being able to see. Well, I mean, Brian knows, like just being able to figure out the atmospheres of these objects from the spectrum of light that comes through, or gravitational lensing, and all kinds of different various crazy things that we do to be able to figure out what is the atmosphere of these planets that are out there, as well as their orbits and how fast they're going around and positions and all kinds of amazing stuff. There's been so many amazing things that have happened over just the last 10-15 years in astronomy, just from a ground-based telescopes and the kind of equipment being used. So now, to have James Webb, it's like, that's the next big step, like you said, nothing like Hubble, right? It's going to be like Hubble. It's just like, wow, it's going to be such an amazing thing. So we're looking forward to it, man, for sure. It's going to be awesome.
I love it. I mean, I'm excited about it too. Brian, did you have something you want to say?
Oh,
yeah. Let's see the mask real quick.
I'm so excited, you guys. Look
go.
at this. Oh my gosh, I'm ready.
all right.
I'm so ready.
I love that one. That one's a really good one. Startorialist is awesome. If you've never heard of that that platform, they show all kinds of. I think it's mostly for women. But I think they've they spread out a little bit more since then. Showed a bunch of. I mean, it's just tons of cool clothes that are out there. It always just made me jealous because it was just this awesome blog with nothing that I could possibly buy. So.
I feel like you could wear the mask. It's black. I feel like it's.
I think I could pull the mask off. I don't think that'd be a problem. But Brian, I think you were going to say something real quick.
Yeah, I mean, we do have these wonderful flagship efforts. So everybody was just blown away, of course, by that fantastic landing by Perseverance, and we're about to have the launch of the James Webb. But something that is very important to notice, and I'm really happy to see, is the increasing understanding at NASA of the value of citizen science. And you look at the type of work that people like Mike are doing, and the true scientific value of that is immense. And so now there are specific programs established within NASA to foster that and advance it. And we gain tremendously from the incredibly high quality work that is coming out of the amateur community. That is something that really makes astronomy stand out, because in this field, like no other, amateurs have made and continue to make real groundbreaking discoveries and differences. And it's hard to have that happen in chemistry or geophysics or whatever, but
The only one I've ever known of is paleontology. Like,
Yeah.
but seriously, like you
Yeah.
have people that and it generally you have to put so much work into that one. This is something like, Mike, how many discoveries have you been a part of now? You know, either you've been a part of it or people have found it from your data, and it's something that it's only been a couple of years for you, and you get to stream this thing, right?
Yeah, I mean we've been a part of a number of them, even the supernovas and stuff as well, and we still have yet to discover our first asteroid because it is challenging to do that, especially based on location. But we are giving tons of data on positions, and we're keeping many eyes. I mean, for me, like I shared, to get 1,000 objects in a night. Do we need all that data? No, but that's the kind of data that we can produce right here from our backyard. And it's those positions are very important in understanding where orbits are and just helping keep an eye on the sky. So I mean I'm shaking right now to hear Brian say that. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it greatly, man. It's awesome, man. And I'm serious. Like you talked to me before the stream about that launch. I would love to go and check that out with you. That'd be amazing. But yeah, it's just this is the kind of stuff we are able to do, and we have been part of many discoveries of like the novas and the the exoplanets as well and those kind of things. But yeah, this is what we are able to do right here from our backyard. It's incredible, and I have a massive amount of data coming out of our observatory on a nightly basis. We have lots of asteroid follow-ups that happen and detections and stuff that go on. So there's a lot of different things that we have coming out of our observatory here. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one big disadvantage that the big professional observatories have is they are anchored to the ground. They are fixed in one location, whereas the amateur community, it can be mobile. And this allows them to go to locations. We talked about being in the shadow of the moon earlier, but being in the shadow of an asteroid for these actual asteroid occultations, and amateurs are able to set up their telescopes along the path of one of these occultations, and by pooling their data, they can very precisely measure the size and shapes of these asteroids to just a matter of meters. It's just really incredible what they're able to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Love it. Beautifully said. Well, I mean, Gary, want to go to you? How about you, man? What are you excited about? What do you want to see? How far back in time you think we're going to catch stuff? Like, what do you think is going to be? Is there any particular moment you can say that you think that we're going to have? Or are you excited about just the mysteries that we have no idea what's coming? Where are you at on it?
Well, just I guess briefly, we were in Charleston, South Carolina for the eclipse, and that was, I mean, it was like being at a sporting event. That it became total, and just hundreds or thousands of people around are cheering, and it just gives you goosebumps. That was, and the temperature drops. But where are we? I mean, I'm excited for Artemis. I mean, I grew up, during the heady days of the space program with Mercury and Gemini, and Apollo, and now to be able to, watch Artemis go back to the moon and maybe take some pictures. You're not going to see anything. People think you could. How come we can't see, the moon stuff from Earth? Hubble can't even resolve it from the Earth.
People ask that all the time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the spacecraft that are in orbit that Brian has, in his treks, you can see the surface. One of the pictures in that video of Apollo 11, you can see the base of the limb, and then a little faint line over the west crater, and those are Neil Armstrong's footprints. That's touching, when you look at that. But the Webb, the Jack Webb telescope, you look in it and you see old reruns of Dragnet. Is that what we're talking about?
For those that remember what
Right.
Dragnet is,
Oh,
Gary might
man.
be showing his age a little bit on that one. I happen to grow up. My grandfather loved
I don't know what
Dragnet.
you're talking about, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Never heard of it.
That's all. That one's on here. So, kind of what I want to do to wrap up here is we're coming up on our last little bit. Is just give everybody a minute or two just to talk about once again where people can find you on social media, where it is that you're doing the cool stuff that you're doing, and what that cool stuff is, so that way they can be a part of it if they can be a part of it. And anything else that you want to share, if there's any advice that you want to give, like words of wisdom to people that maybe just be getting into astronomy or they want to learn more about this, how you kind of found your way. That's always nice. We'd love to have those at the end. So I want to go in reverse this time. Gary, I'm going to go with you first and go in reverse order. So let's go with that. Where can we find you on social media and all the cool stuff you're up to and your words of wisdom?
My words of wisdom. Well, that might be word, but you can, I'm at OPT now. So, Gary at optcorp.com. If you want to email me, I'm there to help. Of course, if you want to buy something, that would be great too. The market is insane right now with everybody at home, and COVID has really affected manufacturing and shipping, and it's unfortunate. But it's gonna get better. So be patient. If you're just getting into astronomy, it is a very rewarding hobby. You'll have memories that'll last you, till your dying breath. To show somebody something they've never seen before and see their expression makes it all worthwhile. To some of the comments I get on some of my photos, it's like it makes it worth the trouble and the late nights. And don't get discouraged. If you're looking for a telescope, you see these amazing photos online, and you look in the eyepiece, and you're like, it doesn't look like that. No, those are hours and hours and hours of exposures. But the planets are fascinating. To look in the eyepiece and see a little pinhole on Jupiter and realize that that's an eclipse. That's one of the moon shadows, like the picture that you showed earlier. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Artemis. And when I was at Ames back in 2019, the energy and the excitement in that room there was intoxicating. They were really excited about going back to the moon, and that's where I'm really looking forward to that, especially with the Firefly. Since they like my photo.
Right. First woman, next man on the moon coming up very soon. It may move back a little bit from 2024. That's completely okay. I just want them to nail it and do it right. But the 2020s and the 2030s, I think we're in a groove right now. I think that we're going to keep moving forward. And I think that between the private companies and the government agencies, we're going to see so much happen in the next 2 decades. And I'm so excited to be here for it. So, Esther, I want to go to you next. What are you excited about? Where can people find you on social media, and anything you want to share with folks to inspire them as an SSA or just from your heart?
Sure. You guys can find me on Instagram primarily, and I'm under Space Cadet Esther. If you search that on Google, you'll find my other links as well. And if you want to email me, all my information is also attached onto my bios on top of my social media, but it's just esther.trevino@gmail.com. In terms of words of wisdom, I feel like astronomy is for everyone. The more we learn about the universe, the more we learn about ourselves, and it's definitely a great way to just connect with more people that are inspired by the same things as you. It's like a familiar space with common grounds, and I've just made so many wonderful friends that have become like family. So I definitely would love to see more people just feel welcomed into this space, basically. And I'm obviously insanely excited about James Webb. I'm ready. That's what I'm counting down for right now. And if any of you would like me to do live streams or help out with anything in regards to streaming, I also am bilingual. English is not my first language. So I know that one of you had mentioned that you've done outreach with people who've asked you questions in Spain. I speak Spanish. So if I can help you in any way on Twitch, please let me know.
Fantastic. Next, Mike, we'll go to you. Mike, Asteroid Hunters, where can people find you? Twitch, get a hold of you, all the cool stuff that you're up to, anything you want to share with people. A couple of years you put together a pretty amazing setup, so let us know.
Thank you. I dropped my follow to you, Esther. Thank you. On
I'm
Instagram.
sorry.
I had somebody message me on the side. They wanted to see the Apophis thing again. I blew up the image for you guys. So here's Apophis right here, right there between the crosshairs. That's the image we captured a little while ago, and we took observations of it. So somebody messaged me. I wanted to show you guys that real quick. But yeah, essentially, you guys can find us. We stream live on Twitch. We have that. We also have our YouTube channel, Asteroid Hunters. You can find us on Instagram, Asteroid_Hunters. The Twitch channel is Asteroid_Hunters, I believe, as well. We're on Instagram and all that stuff. So, what would I tell somebody that's looking to get into this? Yeah, we've definitely taken it to another level here. There's no question. We didn't start there, but I would tell people like, hey, take some time and first of all, I mean, please join our Discord if you can. If you have interest in this science, and you can find those links in our YouTube channel, and I put those links under all of our videos as well. If you're in our Twitch channel, those links pop up. But get into our Discord, because we have a lot of people that are in there that are kind of learning. We have people in there that are doing real amazing science work as well, all in this field. But I tell people like, hey, we're here to help, because when we started this a couple years ago, there was very little information out there, and I was very fortunate to have a few YouTubers that I was able to reach out to that had a few videos, and they were kind enough to take my images and look at them and say, hey, do this, and do this, and because of that, we were able to get our official observatory code with the Minor Planet Center and really take off a run-in. So I offer that to other people as well. Like, hey, if you're interested in this, join our Discord, message me out. Let's talk. So we can talk through some logistics that are involved in this science. But there's the neat part, like Brian was talking about earlier with astronomy. There's so many avenues. There's asteroids. There's deep sky. There's transient detections. There's exoplanets. There's all kinds of different things that this hobby brings. And it's like, what do you want to do? Sky's the limit, and that's the neatest part about it. Like I said, at the end of the day, for us, it was about a father spending time with his son. I mean, my son is still very much involved in all the stuff we're doing. In fact, today we were out, tweaking on the observatory, and he's out there with me, working on it with me. So it's really a family affair over here. I even had my daughter, my 10-year-old daughter, helping me run cables a few months ago as well. She's out there taping stuff down. So, but I just, there's a lot of different avenues, and it's just whatever you want to jump into is out there. So the equipment is available. That's the neatest part. That wasn't the case before. So it's kind of a sky's the limit at this point, as far as, and it's like anything else, man. You can go as far as you want to go and kind of spend as much money as you want to in that as well. So
how much do you have? Because you can spend it all quite easily doing this. Just be careful about that.
Right.
But there's a lot of great things to it. So Brian, I want to go to you last, talk a little bit more about, where people can find you, if you have the ability for people to get in touch with you, the awesome platform that you work on, how people can be involved in it, and any other words of wisdom. And, how do I get a job at NASA? I'm sure you get that all the time. So I'm just kidding.
I've asked that.
You can catch up with me through the Solar System Treks site. So again, that's https://trek.nasa.gov. The brilliant team at JPL, brilliant team of engineers who really are behind this and putting this incredible product together, are really amazing. So I got to give a hats off to them. I do a monthly article there, feature of the month. We have video tours. We have all kinds of things. So come visit us there. But I also want to point out, just in terms of astronomy itself, especially in times like this, getting a good dose of awe can be very, very therapeutic. And standing under the night sky, the great telescope, and surveying the heavens, there's no way to come down with a grand case of awe. And the exploration of space can be inspirational, like nothing else can. So take advantage of the information flow that comes from people like Esther and the solar system ambassadors. Become inspired by the kinds of work that Mike and Gary do. It's incredibly rewarding.
Beautifully said, sir. And I just want to thank everybody, all of my guests again tonight. Every single week, we always have a minimum of 4. Sometimes we have 3. Something happens. But generally, we have a minimum of 4, sometimes all the way up to 10 folks that come on, talk to us. Sometimes we have musical guests. Sometimes we have cool videos. There's always something to talk about, and the 2 hours always flies by. So I want to thank everybody who came in and watched tonight. We had a bunch of familiar names out there, great people doing great things in the space community, like Cosmo from Glaredum, and also we had Tori from Overlook Horizon. But I do have to say one thing, because this is a great joke from Bill Nash, who also streams on this channel. He says, how do you make $1 million? Start with 2 million and get into astrophotography, which just definitely made me giggle. Like, if you want to spend all your money,
Right.
this is a great thing to do. And there's that running joke of like, sorry, go ahead, Esther.
I was going to say, what else is your tax return for?
Yeah, so just spend all your money on this. So
Hey, this is what I always tell people, Ron. I say, you can't put a price on fun, man. You can't put a price on fun. That's all you got to know.
well, and that's, people say that money can't buy you happiness, but it can buy you telescopes, it can buy you jet skis, it can buy you vacations to Italy. You can go to Florence and you can see the Museum
That's
Galileo.
right.
I think that they are wrong, and they may not have ever had any money to go do things before, which I understand because I've been there too. But money can definitely buy you happiness. It can buy you some forms of happiness, I guess I could say. But no, seriously, it's always wonderful to have everybody on. You're all doing incredible things. There was 2 quick things. Mike, you wanted to mention that you all stream on Sundays, Wednesdays, and Sundays. Is that right?
Yeah, primarily Sunday nights, and then we're doing Wednesdays as well. We've had some problem because of weather recently, so it's all weather pending. So if you don't see us out there, it's just because the weather's bad. So we're not able to stream. But Sunday and Wednesday nights on Twitch is when we're there.
Okay, and then Gary, you said that your people can find you on Facebook as well. Gary Varney, Varney. He's in Florida. You're probably going to see some astronomy stuff on his page, so you're definitely going to be able to find him there as well. Wearing awesome T-shirts like the LP T-shirt that he's got on tonight. So thank you, everybody, and again, every single week, unless something crazy happens. We were supposed to have this crazy snowstorm tonight, so I was really kind of worried that we may have not have internet. Snowmageddon didn't come, so we had an awesome guest list this evening. We'll see you next week, 8 p.m. Mountain daylight time, because we flipped tonight in like a couple hours. So we'll see everybody then. Thank you so much for joining. Good night. And if you did get hit with a lot of snow, please stay safe out there. We can't wait to see you, and hopefully you have clear skies and not the clouds, not the crazy clouds like we got here. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.